Hi, this is Tina with Cafe Crop, and I want to show you today how to make this little lion with the new Woodland Creatures template set from Kiwi Lane. So we're not going to use these templates, so we're going to put those off to the side for now. And the ones that we are going to use today are number 5, number 4, number 7, number 1, and number 9. So let me show you how this is done. Just set him off in the corner. So we're going to start by tracing out, and I've pre-traced a couple of things just to save time. We're going to use the body here, and I've traced number 5 right there. And we're going to use the large part for the face up here. That's number 7. I've also used a hole punch, and you could cut the circles if you would like, and don't have a hole punch, but I used a 1-inch punch to cut 2 1-inch circles that we're going to use on the ears. Again, you can also trace and cut them out. I just had that so it was faster for me. And then the other thing we are going to do, which I'm going to show you how I did the tail. And I'm also going to tell you, make sure you trace the same direction on your tail. So if you trace on the left edge, when we do the yellow part of the tail, you want to do the same. That way you get a nicer swoop. Mine didn't swoop as well because I happened to trace, I realized after the fact, the left side and the right side. So what I'm doing here is I'm just going to trace one edge, not the whole thing. Then I'm going to move the template, keeping this same point in place, but I'm going to move it here out. This is a little bit more than 1/4 of an inch, depends on how thick or thin you want it. And I'm going to trace it again. And then I can just use the top of the template here to give myself the point, which you can then, as you're cutting, round it out however much you want. So all I did, and I'm using the left edge, so when I trace it on the yellow, I want to remember to use the left edge so I get the same curve, because if you do this curve for one and this curve for the other, they're not going to match up as nicely, and you'll get more of just a straight edge rather than a nice curve on your lion's tail. So those are the pieces that I will need out of the darker color. And of course you can make your lion any color you want. So we'll set that aside for the moment. And then for the yellow, we are using the number 1, which I've already traced here, and that's going to be in the body. And we're going to need 3 1-inch circles again. And we need some 1/8 inch strips. I made them probably about 5 inches long or so, because that way once I put them down, I can trim them to whatever length I need. So if we put one down kind of like this and one down like that, then you can trim them as you know to whatever fits your particular lion. So these can be cut out of whatever, either off an edge before you start tracing or off of another piece of scrap. So we'll need those. So we've got these, and these. And then we also need to trace another tail. So that's going to be number 4. So again, we're going to put it down the same direction that we put it down the first time. We're going to trace, I did the left edge the first time, so we're going to do the left edge again. I'm going to keep this bottom point at the same point, move it out 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch. Then I'm going to use my top edge to give myself the top of my tail. Alright, so that one's done. And then the last one, this can be kind of the trickiest. Not really tricky, it's just we're creating a bigger shape out of a smaller shape. So we need to do 5 of these shapes that we trace. So I'm just going to start in a corner, trace the first one, and And then I've got to kind of keep it a bit bigger. I'm going to overlap slightly with the previous one so that we make get our nice little curves around for the mane. And remember, every lion's mane is going to be different. So it doesn't need to be perfectly proportioned. It doesn't need to perfectly create a circle in any way. And if you don't like where one ends up, you can always redraw it and recut it. Or before you cut it, just go ahead and redraw it. So something like that. If you didn't like one or you wanted something out farther, you could always trace it again out a little bit farther or in a little bit and just know which line you're going to cut around. So we're going to do this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. And this is template number 6. This is template number 4. We've got our 1/8 inch strips, our circle punches. I put 4 pieces here, but if you cut 2 longer pieces, then you can cut them in half. So either way works. So now that we're done with our templates, I'm going to move those off to the side. And in order to speed this up so you don't need to watch me cut, I've already pre-cut my pieces. And what I also did is I didn't have textured paper. It looks really cool if you have some already textured paper. A lot of places sell a paper that's kind of got a polka dot texture on it, or Swiss dot. So I actually used this particular one on the pieces I'm going to show you. It's an embossing folder, and I ran the pieces through here. Anything that has like a small design that's going to work with our small pieces. This is another one that would work well. This is kind of like the polka dots, but I don't know how well. Hopefully you can see that. I think over here with it at an angle. That would work. And again, this is the one that I ran them through. So it's a bigger design when you look at the whole thing, but when you get just pieces of it, it just gives it that nice random texture. So I have already taken these pieces and run them through so that and I have already gone ahead and inked them. So I like using the Vintage Photo ink and my ink blending tool, and I just go around the edges real quickly to give them a nice brown look, which works well with the lion, and of course with other colors of ink or other colors of paper you could easily use other colors of ink. So what I'm going to do here for my lion head is just decide kind of where I want the head to go. And it all just may depend on how you cut. I think I'm going to place him right there. But before I actually glue him down, we're going to add the ears. So what I did for the ears is I took one of these circles, 1-inch circles, and then I took another 1-inch circle, but layering them like that just doesn't look quite right. So what I did instead, in order to make the smaller piece, is I cut off each edge just a little bit, maybe 1/8 of an inch or so, and then just trying to kind of follow the circle. It doesn't have to be perfect. I just cut off a top like that, so I ended up with a piece that's flatter on the sides, rounded at the top, but when I layer it against this 1-inch circle, I get the look of an ear. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that together. Just throw some glue on the back of here. And I am using the Scotch Tacky Glue or Scotch Quick Dry, depending on how it is branded where you're picking it up. Oh, and I threw that on the wrong side. They've been rebranding, but it works great. It dries pretty quickly for anything paper. So that's my favorite go-to glue. So what I'm going to do now is take these ears and we're just going to stick them underneath each side of the head so that they're sticking out. So again, you can always move them around and place them however you like, whatever looks good to you. I'm And I also put some glue on the back of here so that it sticks down for us. And you want to make sure you get the glue between sticking the ears down and sticking the face down kind of in a timely manner so that nothing sticks too far or too quickly together for you. And now on these two pieces that we cut out for the body, all we're going to do is layer this one on top of this, the yellow on top of the brown. And it's going to be sticking up here, but that's okay because that's going to help us attach the head to the body. So we'll throw that together real quick. Once it's all cut, you're cutting, it's probably the longest part. You're going to then just put some glue right at the top portion there because you don't want it too far down and showing, and attach your head onto your body. Now you're really close to being done. The two tail pieces that you cut, the one of the yellow, the one of the brown, I've already glued them together, but I just layered one behind the other, so just a touch of glue. They're not very much overlap, but you can change it as you want. I'd hoped to have the whole curve showing on the tail, but depending on how much brown you want showing versus the two colors, and if you, as long as you do the same edge of your template when you're doing your number 4 template, then you'll get more of a curve than I got on this particular one. The last thing we're going to do is create the mouth and the whiskers, and then you can, or the nose and the whiskers, you can always draw a little mouth on here. I didn't grab a pen to do that. So how I did that was I took a full circle that I had textured. Oops, try a yellow one. And all I did was cut down because I wanted to keep the top of the circle for the top of the nose. And I just cut down at a slight curve, almost like a triangle, but a rounded triangle. Put that on there. And then I took my little piece that's right here. And the fastest way to do this is if we just crisscross our 2 long pieces. You could also do 4 short pieces. But if I glue these down, put the nose on there, kind of adjust them at the angle you want. Once these have dried a little bit, then I can just snip them. And then I like using wiggle eyes. You can punch circles, you can draw them on. I just think adding a little wiggle eye makes it very fun. And I'm going to do this in pencil. I would normally do it in black pen, but I would just draw a little smile there, and we'll give these whiskers a bit of a snip. You can always go back with your ink and ink the edges that you snipped off to give it a finished look. And there we go. We have our completed lion. Enjoy. Have fun making your own woodland creatures of all sorts. And thanks for watching. We'll see you later.